Welcome to Real Estate on the Rocks, where you get top shelf real estate conversations served straight up, never watered down. Here's your host, Dave Snowberger.
Welcome back to Real Estate on the Rocks. My name is Dave, and I'm joined in the studio today with Marshall.
What's going on?
And James.
Hey, what's going on?
The new guy.
We're back.
The man behind the glass. Here we go. All right, man. So we started talking a little bit. I start noticing things that I say a lot. Everything is always like predicated off of like, you know, we were talking a little bit about this, but I guess that's how every show starts is we sit around, we talk, and we kind of pregame, you know, and we do the pregame stretch, and we throw out our topics, we whiteboard them for a minute, and, you know, we start running from there. So I'm sorry for always repeating myself. However, it's just the way it goes. Marshall, you're standing in front of the whiteboard, so let me get over here real quick, and we're going to talk today really about how to help your buyers get the win in the multiple offer. Going for the win. We're going to give you some actionable items to go off of on the contract that you should know that maybe your broker, maybe your team leader, maybe the people that are teaching you to write contracts have not told you how to win a multiple offer. It seems to be all over the country. Right now, there's a ton of hot markets out there. There's lots of things going to multiple offer. We're in Austin, Texas. That seems to be the case for the past 5 years here. Even then when they said there was a shift going on, I was shifting back into multiple offers. So here we go. Marshall Tucker's going to help me a ton with this today. And so we're going to go ahead and kick it off with Marshall. Give us the top 5 things. You look at me like I'm crazy.
You know I can't count.
Yeah, the top five, you know, actionable, practical things that a buyer can do, a buyer's agent can do to help get in front of that offer.
The first thing you got to do, first thing you got to do is you got to call the agent.
Right.
You got to find out first that there's no other offers already on there, or find out how many, if he'll tell you. Get what information you can. Find out, ask them what terms are important to their seller.
Right.
Are they looking for a quick close? Is it just about the money? Is there something else? Do they need a lease back?
Yeah.
So you kind of want to find all that out because, you come in with the lease back and no one else has one on there. Hey, you already got a step ahead of everyone else.
There you go.
I guess the second most important thing is got to be price. You got to put your best foot forward. You got to come in as high as you can.
So you recommend not lowballing?
If you're in a multiple offer, don't lowball at all.
I only say that because I've seen it. I mean, we're always on the listing side. We're on the listing side of a lot of transactions. And
well, I had some clients the other day, and they typically come in a little bit lower than where I would like for them to come in at usually. And on this particular one, we heard it was multiple offer, so I convinced them to come in just a little bit over the list price.
$100.
$100. But hey, it was a start. It was a start, right? But we had no chance in hell anyway. There was 23 other offers in.
23?
23.
God dang.
Yeah, so we didn't win that one. So price is very important. Had we had price where it should have been, we probably would have won that one.
Right. At 23 offers, though, who knows where? I mean, that's going to be a great one to put on the board to watch, to see where it closed, to kind of study that neighborhood. That's what I like to do, is nerd out on the numbers. But, so what James else is itching over there. What's up?
Yeah. Buddy? So if price is important, you can't nail price because, buyers can be a little finicky with how much they think that they should offer on there. What else is going to make me competitive in a multiple offer? For somebody who's just starting, how am I going to win?
You gotta trim the fat. So knock off the home warranty. You can always pay for that out of your pocket later on.
These are suggestions, by the way. These are suggestions from us, and they're our opinions. However, this is how we win. Now, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so knock the home warranty off. You want to put a lot of the financial burden back onto your buyers. So the title policy, if the survey doesn't work out, you want your buyer to pay for that as well. Don't put it on the seller, because every other offer that comes in, they're going to be putting it on the buyer.
Right.
Especially if they have a good survey already, you're not risking too much.
You mean put it on the seller?
Right.
Right.
Most contracts.
Right.
Yeah.
So put it on the buyer. Makes sense. Okay. And, for the option, you want to go as less.
No, real quick. Sorry. I'm going to back up there because you confused me. So if you confuse me, then typically you confused a listener, because in one sentence you didn't break. You said pay for the title policy survey. So those are two different things.
Right. So normally the seller here in Texas pays for the title policy.
Well,
Now,
normally it's negotiated.
the buyer-
however, right. Traditionally, the seller pays.
Traditionally, but the buyer can also pay it as well. So
Right.
if you're the only contract that comes in, that's saving them $1,000 to $1,500 right there.
Well, you typically, yeah. Well, it's on the cost of the house typically, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 1%,
Right.
a little less than 1%. So take that off. Yeah, I mean that would mean the seller would net, if it's a $300,000 house, possibly somewhere between $2,600 to $3,000. They would net more in their pocket, giving you the advantage over somebody that was saying I'll overpay $3,000. However, you're paying a $3,000 title policy, so it's a wash.
Right.
Okay.
And then as far as survey, if the title doesn't accept survey, you would put your buyers to pay for it instead of the seller.
Right. And you, by just being an experienced agent, I would assume that by now you know typically what a
Good looking
title
survey
company,
looks like.
title company would accept versus what they wouldn't.
If you get it back
So-
and you have a hard time reading the survey yourself, then more
if
than likely it's not going to fly.
If it's hand drawn and there's been a pool added and there's nothing there on the survey that's kind of depicting the pool, then more than likely they're not going to accept it and they're not going to sign the T47 that says that no changes have been made to the survey. You're going to need a new survey. So I would price the survey of a house real quick. Typically residential property, $300 to $400. When you get into farm and ranch, I know that we just had this one. We can laugh about it now, but we were selling some land and Marshall was handling this transaction because it was a family transaction. He's like, oh yeah, I just told him, we'd pay for the survey. And I'm like, dude, you know how much the survey is for land? Like how many acres is it? And he told me, I was like, that's going to be about $3,000, and it ended up, he found it a lot cheaper.
I found it for $900, but it went all the way up to $25.
You thought it was $300-$400. And I mean, the 108 acres we sold, 102 acres we sold out in Georgetown, that survey was like $10,000.
Dang.
Yeah, so you got to watch that stuff.
I guess another trick in my bag would be a higher option with as least amount of days on there as possible. So you want to make sure you have a great inspector. You might even want to call your inspector beforehand, have him lined up already. So if your offer does get accepted, boom.
Right. When you say lined up, I would do it like we have our inspector, Kevin Bro with Bro Inspections,
That's him.
lined up when I'm showing the homes. Like the minute, hey, dude, we're going out today. We're going in hot and heavy. If we get something accepted by tonight, can you hit an inspection by? I mean, there's times that he's inspected the house and I haven't even delivered option yet. There's been times
happened to
where
me a couple weeks
we've
ago.
inspected a house and backed out of the house and I still haven't delivered
We went under
option.
contract. The very next day he was out there, and then I
Yeah.
delivered option the day after that.
Yeah. And so I've even terminated and said no, and they're like, well, you still owe me the option. Of course. That's what the contract says. You'll get the option. However, we're that fast. Right. And so boom.
Efficiency.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of our value our value proposition that we bring to buyers and sellers. Go ahead.
So the highest amount of money you can put on the option there with the least amount of days. You can even check the little box if you're in a Texas contract, check the little box that the seller gets to keep the money no matter what.
True.
A little bit of icing on the cake there for the seller.
Yeah.
Might make your offer just a little bit better.
Just a wee bit.
And of course, a short closing, you want to get with a good lender like Mike Carroll who can close you in 12 days, which he's told me before.
Right.
So I usually buffer a couple days in there for 14 days.
I got my mind blown. I was listening to a fella today. Everybody knows that I'm a certified Tim and Julie Harris coach with the Harris coaching stuff.
Harris rules.
I sidetracked on that because I was thinking about the guy's name, but I can't think of his name. However, he was talking about how he is just killing it with offers that are out of this world, right? And so he is going out and writing contracts from 10 to 14 days out with a higher option. And if they're putting down $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, that's what the escrow is. That's what the earnest money is $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. If they don't have it, put down 10, put down 5, but put down a higher amount, right? Also, drag your option out all 14 days. So if you're going to write a contract that closes in 14 days, drag your option out to the 14th day. Now you have nothing to worry about losing. You can put $1 million earnest money. You're not going to lose it.
Yep.
So that was genius to me, right? And so this is something that we've all thought of in the past. However, it takes a lot of convincing at a lot of different levels, and even more the seller's agent on the other side that's not used to moving that fast, that's coached their agent that once we show, we'll be able to take an offer and 30 or 45 days will close whenever you want to close, and just like this, this real slow agent that just wants to move at the pace of where they want to move. Man, we're here to do it quick. We're here to do it fast, and so we want to start perfecting this. And I'm going to bring this. This helps us battle iBuyers. This helps us battle, multiple offers. This helps us in just hot markets, and it just looks good. Well, we can't close in 14 days. We need 30 days to move. We're not moving till this date. Well, cool. We're going to give you a free lease back. And then Marshall chimed in and was like, well, I'm going to charge him for that lease back. And I was just like, no,
Cha-ching.
screw that. It's like, well, I'm looking out for my clients. Like that's not.
I have Dave is the one who taught me everything that I know. So he's yelling at me for this, and he taught it to me.
Yeah, but I've been evolving.
No, I mean, that mind blown emoji, just listening to him and picturing the process and how that completely shifts the whole dynamic and system of sales. Imagine if your entire business cycle for each transaction was
14 days.
Literally cut in half.
Yeah.
That's imagine
Awesome.
the amount of things you can do and value you can provide to create the system or to implement the system, because it's already created. It's not like something foreign for anyone. You don't have to invent it.
Well,
It's a proven system.
We talked about all the things that could go wrong with a longer closing too.
It's more advantageous to do it.
But think of all the things that
faster.
could go right
Yeah.
with a shorter closing.
Exactly.
I misunderstood what you said. So I don't work my way
He's gonna yell at me again.
I had to work my way backwards. So that was,
No, but
what do you say?
yeah. And then, we listened to it two or three times now today. I mean, not in its entirety, but for a majority
There'll be a
of
fourth and a fifth time for me. I am going to implement this through team wide, and this is the way that we're going to operate on offers. No more of this Mickey Mouse stuff. We always tell clients we never want to waste their time, right? And when I tell that, typically, if I'm not wasting the client's time, that means I'm not wasting what?
your time.
My time.
Yep.
Right? And my time is valuable.
It'd be more valuable if you cut the time in half.
Right. I could do more, and I mean, that's what I always like to do is more. There's something I'm passionate about is doing more. Right. And so I love this idea. Oh, we're going to go after, excuse me, real quick. Let me see the rest of that board. And then, so option the same day as the 14-day closing date. If you have to provide a lease back to them, offer it. If that helps you win in the situation, offer it. You can always get a deposit out of them. However, you're going a deposit for any kind of damages. Some agents will do this. Agents right now, some of them more than likely, I have their hair on fire. Like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Right. And so it's just the real estate market is changing. Everything is evolving.
Yeah.
People are trying to get rid of us. There's big companies out there trying to get rid of us. If you really want to show value, if you really want to show that you're thinking outside of the box and you get rid of this traditional 30 to 45 day close, and you can close in 14 days and provide a free lease back that accommodates the seller, I can imagine if I call an agent and tell them, look, I have this in hand. It's an offer. It's full price. $50,000 of earnest money. There's a $500 option in here. The option's 14 days. As soon as I say 14 days, what is that agent going to tell me? Well, that's just not going to work. Yeah. Okay. Why not? Because now you've interjected your ego and you want to dictate how this deal is going to go. Well, let me tell you, it's not up to you. It's up to your client. So I'm going to present the offer to you verbally, and then I need you to go over there and ask them, if I bring you an offer for this, full price, 14-day close, all cash, they'll give us a free lease back for 30 days. Can we accept? Yeah. They're not going to take it, what the other agent says, right? They're not going to take it.
Wasn't asking your opinion.
I didn't ask your opinion once again.
Exactly.
Do me a favor. Just deliver the message. Let me know. 30 minutes later, they call back. Well, what do you know? They took it.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Now I got to go write the offer.
Yeah. But put a time limit on it. Like he was saying, don't
7:30, right?
Yeah.
Or not 7:30, but
don't run it for like a day. You just submit it and be like, all right, well, just let me know.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, you should never do that in the first place. And that's one thing is you're not providing a lot of value there when you submit your buyer's contract to a selling agent and then don't ask questions like, when can I expect an answer? what's going to be the determining factor? How fast do you want to move on this? And just submit it blindly and hope that you don't piss the seller's agent off. Like I get that all the time. Like, I didn't want to upset you. So, can I just check on that offer? Man, yeah, of course you can check on the offer.
I always played on another property too. Like, hey man, there's another property around the corner that they like just as much, but we chose yours.
Plan B. Mm-hmm. Plan B property.
Let me know so
always got to have
on.
one, right? And so if you're in tune with your buyers and they trust you, because at this point, if they know you, like you, and trust you, they're going to trust your opinion. You're the professional. You do this every day. They're going to trust your go on this. So I would have 2 homes to go on.
Yeah.
We've been submitted on before. I can tell that we're the backup offer, and if the first one comes in, I know they're pulling out. I can tell by their shit earnest money. Not earnest money, yeah, but they're typically earnest money. Their shit option, their 12-day option, or whatever they're going to do, and I could tell how sloppy it's written, that we're just a backup for them, and basically we're just leverage, And I just pray that another offer comes in,
Yeah.
And so I even hate marking those ones, but you have to, because ethically you have to. I even hate marking them pending.
Yeah.
Because it makes you look bad when that thing falls out. Then you get the phone call like, why did that house fall out of market? So I do a lot more qualifying questions to agents these days. Like, have you guys submitted on any other properties? No? Okay. You give me your word on that, right? Because I wouldn't lie to you. Well, we're looking at another one. We might submit on it. Okay, that's a pretty much sure thing that you've submitted on something else.
Just be honest. Like, so I didn't know you could be as honest with some people as you could and should be. Like, tell people what's going on. Like, look, this is what's going on. This is where we're at. This is a timeline we have to get this under contract, and tell people where you're at. It creates a better relationship. And then later on down the road, when you meet that person again at another deal, because you will in most towns, if you have that relationship. Yeah. If
you're in the business long enough,
right?
If you're listening to the podcast, so you stay in business.
That's right.
Yeah. If you're listening to this podcast,
yep,
the number 1 podcast in my office
in the world.
No. Oh, and in order, if you're going to bump up the time and do all these things to create a better offer and shorten the timeline and be more efficient, make sure your people are qualified. Make sure you spoke with the lender and get them like locked in and get the whole process.
That's another thing too, is that I see agents all the time not speaking to their lender.
Yeah.
And they're just taking their client's word for it. Oh, I'm qualified with my bank, and my bank's in California. That might not be somebody that you want to write that type of offer for. The 14-day contingency with the 14-day option, it might not be an option for. I typically won't do it with, and I'm not picking on California, just every experience I've had with California lenders they're 2 hours behind time. It seems to be that they have a different opinion maybe about urgency. California on California time. No, I'm just messing with them. But
it depends. I mean, but they have internet like we do. They have phones like we do. They have agents like we do. If you have them qualified, you get the letter, you get a good relationship, go for it.
Yep.
But make sure you got the relationship. Make sure you got everything solid.
You have to communicate with the lender also. It's your job as the professional to reach out to that lender. You're 6 days into this.
Yep.
Check with the lender. Hey, how are we looking on this? We still going to hit that 10-day mark, that 14-day mark? Hell yeah. Cool. Let's go. And then any lender out there that says these days that they can't do this kind of stuff, they can't do 12 to 14-day loans, they're in the wrong business, because there's a lot of people that can.
Yep.
We get people that tell us that all the time. We've got Mike Harrell at Guaranteed Rate. I know for a fact he can do it. He comes to us all the time. He's like, dude, I give you guys 3-day buffers.
Right.
Yeah.
He's I can close in, 12 days or no, 14 days. I was like, 14 days. You need me to add a couple on there then? Like, what, 16, 17? He goes, no, I already put the buffer on there. I can close in 12. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay.
Then he dropped the mic and walked out. I was like, dude, it's a brand new mic.
He's like, I have to slow down for you.
It's pretty much the case.
What's taking you so long?
Especially when he's working with me. I'm pretty damn slow. All right. So any other, let's do some more, get through this real quick. Okay, and so lastly, I mean, we can bring up the fact that this does help in that iBuyer situation. If you do find out that somebody's possibly, this happens a lot in for sale by owners, maybe even sometimes some expireds or withdrawals that have thrown in the towel, and now they've contacted an iBuyer, and all of a sudden you have somebody for that property.
Yep.
You can say, hold off a week. Let me try to find you a buyer. Is it okay if I market your property? Give me a week. You don't have to sign a listing agreement with me. However, I want you to sign this agreement that if I do bring you a buyer within 7 days, that you will pay me my commission.
Yep.
The full 6.
Yeah. Tell your story about the I don't know if we told on the podcast about the lady we went to, the FSBO. We remember we jumped in the car to go hit a couple FSBOs up here, and the lady who sat there,
she chose the discount broker over us.
Didn't want to have a
didn't want to
conversation.
listen to the price that we said.
Butchering.
Oh.
Then she picked up a discount broker, and I think it was even less than the amount we were saying.
Oh yeah.
And she's still on the market.
No. The one that's the one that's the other one.
37,000 under.
The one that sold.
Oh yeah.
That one. Tell them what happened when we got there and how she was, and then what we were offering, and then
the one sitting on the fireplace.
Yes. Yeah. Oh man.
So we walked in there, and she was already giving off that ice cold shoulder and sitting on the fireplace there.
I hate realtors.
Yeah, basically, and making us look around and everything. And we had a good price, I thought, for her. You know. Huh? And she chose the discount broker, and she got sunk $40-something thousand almost.
She said that she didn't want to go with us because she didn't want to pay the commission because it cost too much and she couldn't afford it.
Right, but she ate it in the end.
Over $30,000.
That's taking it somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh. I didn't believe when you told me. I was like, you're like, oh, it's sold. I was like, oh, cool. How much did she get for it? And who she go with? Discount broker? I was like, oh man, she took a hit, didn't she?
For the other agents out there, whenever you go on these FSBO appointments and whatever, make sure that you save that, and so that you can always go back 30 days later or so when they close, just so you can kind of see where you were at with your pricing and everything like that. And you can kind of, I guess, keep a pulse on the market that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly what we do all the time is we always keep track of everything that we price. Or I brought it up earlier, was that we keep track of everything we lose. And when I say lose, that we don't get the opportunity to list. Okay, we missed maybe the opportunity. The value wasn't there. They went ahead and went with the wife's cousin, that sells property outside of the market. But they're, I'm really just putting a sign. I had my neighbors. Yeah. My neighbors, the D-bag that his fence blew down, and he sat in his house and watched me put it up myself, redig the holes and everything else, and do the whole thing in 80, 90 degree weather, and just sat through a window and watched me. And that guy, he listed with somebody from opposite side of town that just put their sign in the ground. And so one day I came home, and the new buyers had come in, and they're setting up shop, and they're asking me. They know that I work for Keller Williams by now. They know that I'm a realtor, and they say, "Hey man, can you get this lockbox off my door? And this girl works for Keller Williams also. Can you give her a sign back to her?" Absolutely not. Absolutely 100% not. You've been closed for almost 14 days now. Now you're moving in. The sign was still in. It was half cocked laying over. I put it up all the time. The sign would blow over. Yeah. I'm always one to help out people. I know what it's being like to have signs that aren't close to you, and somebody that helps you out goes a long way. Yeah. I would put the sign back up. I called her. I left her a message. Hey, come get your sign. Come get your lockbox. These people want it off their door. So I see it one day. I see the lockbox out there in the trash with the old door handle on it. He just replaced the whole door handle, and I see her sign out there. And I just kind of sent her. I took a picture of it, and I sent it to her, and I was like, "Hey, your stuff's out here." Next day, it was all gone with the trash. So she never came and got it. She just didn't care. It wasn't worth her to drive across town for $100 lockbox and probably a $50, $60 sign.
She was probably quitting anyway.
Well, that's the thing is I looked her up. She didn't do any business. However, that's not the way to continue to get business.
Definitely not.
And so I'm sure she gave the guy a discount. He asked me for pricing for 2 months. Kept telling me he was gonna dangling that carrot in front of my head, and I never offered him a discount. And I don't think that's not my value. So I'm just because you're my neighbor, I never liked you anyway because your fence that you had for 7 years before I moved in, blew over, and you wouldn't help me fix it, and you told me you didn't have any money. Like, that's insane to me, So I wasn't really willing to help him out. But I told him from the get-go that he needed to, list his property for $309. He went in full bananas at $349. By the end of the time he sold, $299, $298. $298. Wow. Boom. Yeah, closed at $298. So he took a $50,000 ream and run. So anyway, all right, we're losing focus here. All right, so I hope that helps you with your multiple offers. Your lowballing clients, I wanted to touch on those too. You want to save that maybe for another episode?
No matter.
Yeah, let's go ahead and save that one for another episode coming up. We're going to talk about working with buyers once again, and a good way to do things and the best way not to do things. And one of those is going to be lowballing clients. So stick around for in about 10 seconds. We got another episode of Real Estate on the Rocks coming up. We want to thank our sponsor, Mike Harrell, over at Guaranteed Rate. Don't say it. Please don't say it. I'm going to knock you right in the head in a minute. Just kidding. But reach out to us, Top Shelf Agents, over on Facebook, and you can always reach us at info@realestateontherocks.com. Anything else, fellas?
Yeah, if you're implementing any of these tips and everything, give us a call or send us an email and tell us how you're doing, anything that you've done or succeeded at.
Yeah, success stories. I want to see a success story off some of these tips right here. Like, thank you guys so much, but you helped me. Or thank you guys, you are complete morons and we lost every multiple offer sense. All right, signing out. Here comes the next episode. Come up in 4 seconds.
I'm out.